since Spacies is a member of the Ministry of Retro Gaming. Yes, another bloody gaming podcast. Number 10. Warning. This video contains some strong language that may offend some viewers.
Since Spacies.
G'day invaders and welcome to Spacies, and this is, yes, another bloody gaming podcast, and wouldn't be much of a podcast if we didn't have guests, and we happen to have 4 of them. We have got Uncle Chunt.
Ahoy hoy, greetings all.
We've got Grumpy Retro Gamers, Chris and Ben.
Hello.
Good morning, afternoon, evening.
And
What is it?
and a late entry into the podcast, we have got Battle Beast Gordon from Carbonites Gaming. How you doing?
Doing good. Saving the best for last. I appreciate it. That's really nice.
No problem at all. So yeah, we had a late withdrawal. Lizzie the Hedgehog, she couldn't make it in for this one, so we'll get her on a future podcast. So we're going to start off with the intro questions for the 2 newbies. 2 new guys here on the podcast. This is podcast number 10, by the way. We're going to start off with Chris. Going to get the going to get the 3 questions out of the way. What was your first console and the first game on it?
Right, so first console is the Super Nintendo.
Everyone answers that.
Well, yeah, we're of that age. So it's Super Nintendo, and I'm not one to buck the trend. My parents got me Super Nintendo with the Mario All-Stars.
Nice.
All-Stars, okay, that was something different.
So that was different. Okay, that's fine. I'm glad I bucked some of the trend. So I started playing Super Mario Brothers, but on SNES. So it was great. I loved it. I still love it.
Yeah, it's although I'm not as good as it as I used to be. I think the reflexes.
Oh no, I'm terrible at it now. I remember rinsing those levels when I was a kid. Now I'm dreadful at it.
Oh, my brother will probably say I was shit back then, but anyway.
My parents just say the same thing.
So
they're not.
No pressure or anything, but favourite game of all time. Only one. Gun to the head. What was it you said before, Chunty? Gun
to the head, tasers to the ball.
Tasers to the balls, that's right.
So I've got no bollocks, so it's fine. There's no threat there.
I knew it.
Again, I'm used to it. Don't know why I said that. I've had a bit. So right, my favourite game. It's not a good game at all. It's not a good game. I've mentioned it on one of our videos before. It's a dreadful game, but it's Predator Concrete Jungle. I can't get enough of that game. It's my favourite game. It is dog shit, and I know that it's dreadful. But
wow.
I have memories of playing that game. I love Predator.
If I Google this game, am I even going to find anything? Like, it just sounds
so... Of course you will. You'll find the greatest game that's ever been shite. It's dreadful. There's no need for it.
Wow.
Exactly.
I'm actually quite speechless.
You can always judge how you want.
You don't judge. And
judge me.
What are you currently playing? This is going to be good.
It's actually quite pedestrian. So I bought Vampire the other day.
Was it Vampirez?
I hope not, because otherwise I've been pronouncing it wrong. I pronounce it wrong at the counter. No, I quite like that game. I've still been playing my Switch a bit, although it has been gathering dust. I've been playing Pokemon Quest it's not good. It's not a good game.
It plays itself.
Well, exactly. I put it on auto and I just let it go.
Look at these colourful blocks.
You're buying a Let's Play.
Those games.
I can watch EastEnders and the game just does itself. It's great. Do I like?
I like anything that does itself.
Yeah. So it's probably the most boring answer you could ever have not hoped for. But yeah. So I picked a shite game as my favourite, and then picked a non-game as the one I'm playing at the minute.
We've got to see your collection one day.
It's all right. Not great, but I mean, I'm in a dry spell for games.
All right, so Gordon, we'll switch over to you. Your first console and game on it.
Do we count handhelds or just TV consoles?
Oh, we'll go with A or B. A and B. We'll do both.
Sure. Well, my first console, I guess handheld, was the first thing ever was just a Game Boy Pocket. And I played just regular Super Mario Land and Pokemon Red Blue back as a younger fellow, and I played way too much.
Just a question on that. When was the last time you actually picked up a Game Boy and tried playing it?
It has been some years. It's actually very nearby, but it just doesn't get any attention.
Mario Land was awesome.
Yeah, it is really good. You can rip through it twice, and then every time you go through, it gets harder and more enemies. They really thinking back then. It's amazing how much fun they could put on those little 2x2 cartridges back in the day compared to $60 AAAs that you want to throw in the bin.
Yep.
But, and for a TV console, my first one was actually Nintendo 64, not a Super Nintendo. So finally a different answer.
Yeah, I haven't had anyone come up with that one yet.
I got to it way late in the game because I actually got that fairly, probably not even a full year before the original Xbox came out. So I was late to that party, and I was all over GoldenEye and Star Fox 64.
Okay.
And I just wanted everybody to come over all the time and play GoldenEye, and then the original Xbox came out with Halo, and everybody just kept laughing. And I'm like, Halo's stupid. Halo's stupid. Come on, guys. This is GoldenEye. This is a real game. That's 2 joysticks. That's too dumb. That's stupid. Come on.
Pierce Brosnan, come on.
And then I got a original Xbox and played the original Halo.
I'm kind of curious, why did you pick up a console so late? Were you into microcomputers or something else instead, or you just...
Well, the truth is, my parents were actually quite against it. Quite against video games as a kid. And even that Game Boy I had to be super young. I had to save up my money and buy that, but they wanted that nowhere near me. So, and I grew up on a cattle ranch outside of the city, so it's kind of a little bit isolated too compared to the average cat.
Awesome.
And that's actually kind of a weird answer, but they just, it wasn't banned, but they weren't gonna bring it my way is kind of how that. So it just came late to the deal, and everybody was dumping their 64s because they knew the Xbox and the PlayStation were out now. And that's kind of what I knew for the years before, so I knew it. I enjoy it, and I still have it, and I still play it, and I think it's great.
I can kind of relate to that. My parents weren't the ones that got me my console. That whole opening up a Christmas present and a Nintendo 64 that never happened to me. I had to buy my own console.
I literally did that too.
You literally did that?
Yeah,
You're that kid.
Were you that kid? Christmas Day. I did that. My parents got rid of my Super Nintendo and they bought me an N64, and that is exactly what I did. Oh my god, I fucking got one!
It's. Gordon, what was your favorite game of all time?
My favorite game of all time was and continues to be The Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind for PC and original
Rocket League.
Xbox.
Rocket
It's
League?
not Rocket League.
Oh, what?
I love Rocket League, but it's not up there. I see your shirt. What do you want me to do? Lie? I could never. No, that game, talk about just the amount of awe that it inspired me and still does to this day, because people keep revamping it every few years with new graphics packs and graphics extenders. And
that's an awesome part of that game, is that you could be playing that same game 5 times over and be like, oh my god, am I playing the same game?
5 times maybe, 112 to 113, yeah, sure. Yeah. It's back when, that's right before, and you could even argue that's where it started, but that's right before they really started to make mainstream games like RPGs and things like that. They kind of to make them more, what do you want to call them, just water them down so that they had a wider appeal to the marketplace.
I believe they call it accessible.
Yeah.
Entry level.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, that game, I cannot explain enough or express more clearly, or clearly enough, I should say, how that game would grab me and just remove me completely from the planet Earth and bring me over to Tamriel. And it's just, for a game to do that to me, that's why it remains number 1, and I wait for another game to do that. Subnautica's been close lately. You forget what time is going by. but it's not quite the same thing. What an amazing game. I will say that's the best of all time for me. And I hope one day, because it came out in 2003, it's overdue for something out to kick it off the top, I think.
Don't hold your breath, because I think they're milking 76, which is a.
I was going to say we got Fallout 76. I mean, that should help you out.
Should tie everyone over.
Yeah,
or let's have another Elder Scrolls game.
Or not.
Christ.
Let's
just have another one.
Fallout 4. I played Fallout 4. I got halfway through, and that's as far as I got with that one. So I don't think
I'm with you.
I don't think Fallout anything is going to hold me over anymore.
Fuck, I love Fallout 4.
It's okay.
See, I enjoyed it, but it's not Elder Scrolls.
It's not.
Elder Scrolls is immersive. I was in my Nordic life when I fired up Skyrim. My Nordic life was far better than my actual life. Now when I go back, I bought it again on Steam, and I realise how shit my life is. Playing it again, Skyrim's much better. Fuck real life.
And there's no radiation.
I want to be in Skyrim.
And Gordon, what are you currently playing? Sorry.
I'm currently playing a lot of Rocket League, PUBG, Subnautica. I played a lot of Subnautica the last few weeks. I don't know if you've heard of that. It's just a kind of survival. You're stranded on an ocean planet, and they throw you down with a fabricator and a life pod and figure it out. And it's a little bit like, think of it like a little bit like No Man's Sky, where you're discovering all these new creatures and what they can be used for, and mining resources so you can build a way to survive and escape. So, and it's got horror elements in it too. I mean, you're underwater in the deep ocean. There's some big, let's just say some big fish down there that I don't want to spoil too much.
There's always a bigger fish.
Yeah, there's always a bigger fish. But that's a game in the category of like Morrowind and Diablo 2, where 6 hours will go by and you feel like 45 minutes is all you've been sitting there for. It just sucks you in. So that one I've played more than I want to admit in the last couple weeks. But Rocket League definitely taking the brunt of my time. So I see you're online every day too, Brian. You doing well?
I haven't been playing. I want to get back into Rocket League. That's the game. Every time I ask you guys what are you guys currently playing, I never answer the question. But too busy with the channel to be playing games. But I got a channel that's dedicated to playing games.
Figure that one out.
Yeah, you know where I'm coming from there, Uncle Chunt.
Hells yes.
Yeah, you're too busy answering questions on Twitter or updating your YouTube or your Twitch or whatever, and then you realise I haven't got time for me.
Exactly. Exactly right. It's kind of a problem. Really first world problem.
And Uncle Chunt, what are you currently playing?
Destiny 2. I'm trying to level up to the cat light level before the new content comes out. I'm a bit behind. I was playing that last night with some mates overseas. So I'm kind of... This is my second coffee this morning. So just been smashing a lot of Destiny. What did I play the other night? Something on here. Can't remember. Oh, that stupid Pokemon fucking quest.
That's its new title.
It is stupid.
Yeah,
it is stupid.
It doesn't feel like a game.
Yeah, it's
really
not a
did.
game, is it? It's stuff that you watch that also asks for your money.
There's a lot of bright colours and cubes and stuff, but
Exactly, and that's all I need.
And just purely the fact it's Pokemon.
Yeah, they've
That's
got
the draw.
bright colours and shapes.
yeah.
That's all I
I
want.
tried that Mario Tennis demo thing that was out as well.
That looks alright, actually.
It's pretty
Yeah.
good. It's
I had
fun.
a good time with that.
And it's deep.
I
It's
enjoyed
surprisingly
it.
deep.
Yeah, I enjoyed
It's
that.
deep.
A tennis
Yeah,
game?
no, it really is. Yeah, it really is. Like, I thought I could
Okay.
just bowl in and fucking press buttons and I'd be great at this game. And it turns out I was shit at this game. It'd be fine, but you actually have to really learn it to be. There's a great deal of elements in there.
It looks like Nintendo have learned their lesson with this one, with the Mario Power Tennis, with the GameCube, whatever it's called. That just was
No, the Wii U version. There was a Wii U tennis that came out, and that was one of the last games I think that came out for the system, and it was just shite. It was really
just
terrible.
didn't feel like
Yeah, this
So
isn't.
it's- yeah.
This is actually. It's a pretty deep game, despite the fact it's got bright colours and soft fabrics,
Yeah,
which is normally that's what draws me in.
I'm looking forward to the actual full.
Yeah,
version.
oh, definitely. It's a day one
Yeah,
purchase.
definitely get
I
that.
think, and I really wasn't that bothered about it until I played it.
Get it physical
It's
as well.
day one
Physical
for me.
copy.
It's. I want to be good at this game.
I just want to unlock Wario, and then I'm good to go.
Yeah.
Wario, here's my boy. I love Wario.
And Ben,
I
what
love
are
how
you? I was going to ask you, Ben. What are you currently playing at the moment?
At the moment, I'm mainly on the Switch at the moment. Still, I'm playing Super Mario Odyssey properly. Which, yeah, it is brilliant. I love it. A lot of complaints about it being a big collectathon game, but that's all Mario has ever been. That's all the object.
You
Mario is
literally
to
get
collect.
coins.
There's nothing else. Yeah, you collect things and you go through the level.
What was
That's
it?
what Mario is.
Chris said it's the world's biggest fetch quest.
Yes.
Collect coins, collect princesses.
That's
whatever.
I have absolutely no problem with that because my favourite genre is RPGs.
Yeah.
Like, I love a good fetch quest. Mario Land 2 is called 6 golden coins. That's all you have to get is 6 golden coins in the whole game. I have no
I love that
problem with
game.
that.
It has
Exactly, it's a great game.
It has been
Super
the premise of Mario for the last 33 years.
Yeah, just
That's a collectible.
Jump.
Everyone knows that.
kill turtles and get money.
You collect stuff.
That's a rap. It's essentially you can play a rap album.
Yeah.
Kill stuff, get money.
Yeah.
That's a rap album, and that is Mario. He's a
Mario
psycho.
gangster.
Exactly. Yeah,
Insert
he's
the
obviously nuts.
Yeah. And of course, Rocket League, which I've now rocked up 400 hours on.
Oh, what?
Holy
Yeah.
Jesus Christ!
You need help.
I know.
I talk to you though.
The
How
hang
have I
on.
not known that?
The main problem is.
I,
The main
Gordon.
problem is
I was
whenever
just-
I,
oh, sorry,
whenever I score a
Garrett.
goal, they all rage quit. 'Cause I always play 1 versus 1, always.
400 hours
Really?
playing of a game.
I've never.
Jesus.
And they
Gordon,
just
how
rage
many
quit all
hours
the
have you spent on that?
I'm just looking. It's
'Cause-
1,483. 1,483 hours. I'm not even
time.
that.
Well,
That's not even a lot in the grand scheme of things.
I'm sorry I had to go at you. I'm sorry.
I was
just
just
treated-
sitting here loving it, taking it in, watching
I
it.
don't. I just treated you like scum, and I feel like an arsehole for
And-
that. I'm so sorry.
And the spotlight is on me, apparently.
I'm so sorry. That is entirely on me, and I'm the arsehole now.
I'm the only one that hasn't played it. I bought the game, and I bought the Back to the Future and the.
Oh, would you hurry up and get on there and play it? My God.
See,
Well, I wanted to play it
love
because I knew the
It's fun.
Batmobile was in
Yeah,
there.
it's
So
fun.
It's a fun game.
You should definitely, start it properly. It is a lot of fun.
It is
It's
fun,
very
but
good.
I haven't played it that much. But it's all right. I did beat you on it though. I beat you.
Yeah,
I ruined you on it.
that's cool.
see, 400 hours. This is probably why it hasn't been in
It's definitely a game. It's
It's
easy to
rich,
pick
yeah.
up and impossible to master, though. So you can spend as much time as you want
Yeah.
on it.
Now Ben's better than me. I'll never play him on it because he will destroy me. The first time we played, I ruined him because I
Oh,
played
man.
it a good 2 weeks longer than he had. I'm never
Oh.
playing him again.
It's got to the point. It's got to
Undefeated.
the point where people
Exactly.
quit even when they actually see who I am.
Listen,
Oh,
They quit at the
wow.
start. And
That's
Okay,
power you
that's
can't buy.
That's GRG Ben.
Yeah.
I've heard about its crew. I've got-
I've heard about it.
Best
It's-
through
That
of
was-
them.
like you're in the Warriors.
How to play?
Okay, well, I think we'll get on with the questions now.
Sorry, I forgot there was a question.
Yeah, that's all
Yeah,
good.
there's a podcast going on.
So, with
Oh, right,
gaming
right.
becoming more in-depth and also a much more complex form of entertainment, it goes without saying that it's now more likely to get more involved in the storyline, characters, and the mood of a game. For me, the only time I've ever really teared up is Final Fantasy VII, when Aerith got done in by Sephiroth, the bastard. So that was the only time I really thought, oh my god, that was not meant to happen, was it? So is there
right.
any times? Oh, sorry, spoiler alert. Sorry, if anyone hasn't played it. Spoiler alert on a 20-plus-year-old game. Is there
How does that work?
anyone here that's had a moment where you thought, wow, this is getting a little bit emotional? Anyone?
Emotion.
I'm man enough to admit it.
Yeah, what's your Nintendo 60? What do you call it? Superman 64, was it?
Barbie's horse riding adventure. No, look, my go-to answer all the time, because it's pretty much the most effective answer that I've had experience with, is it's Gears of War related. Those of you who don't know, I'm a big Gears of War fan, and I always start off the premise where, yes, you might look at the game and you think it's just a big, chunky bro shooter with no heart and emotion whatsoever. But the first one, you'd probably be right. But when you go into the second and third games, they got more plot and story and character development, despite what you might think. But there's one particular plot thread where Dom, he mentions in the first game looking for his wife, and you don't really touch on that otherwise. But then in the second game, it's a main plot thread where you eventually find Dom's wife, spoiler alert, in the underground Locust caverns where they capture and torture people. So you eventually find her, and the way the scene's plotted out is you're seeing it through Dom's perspective, and you find your wife and you open the canister where she's in, and she comes out, and the way Dom sees her is how he remembers her. So she's like pristine and untouched and like, you know, lovely. And they embrace, and the scene kind of, the camera work turns away, so you don't see her, you just see him embracing her. And Marcus is like, Dom, you know, you might want to look at this the right way, like just wake up a bit. And the camera pans out, and she's all like mangled and just destroyed, and she's not there, and just vacant expression. And then he starts like breaking down, like, oh my god, you know, he spent like his entire military career from Emergence Day looking for his wife, pretty much, and then he finds her and she's just destroyed. So his whole motivation is just kind of crumbling down on him, and he has to do the only thing that he can think of, because she's just not there anymore, and he has to put her down, like gun to the head. And I was just like, holy shit, like I'm even getting emotional thinking about it, because I couldn't imagine doing that to someone. It's full on. Like at that point, I've never had a game do that to me, and ever since, I haven't either. But the only one after that is Gears of War 3, where it's just more of a kind of like a bro love kind of thing, where Dom again sacrifices himself to save all his friends, because he's got nothing left besides his friends. The world's gone to hell. He's lost his wife. You know, he's just sacrificed himself. And the whole scene and the music and all that kind of crap, I'm like, oh my god, Jesus, what are these feelings? Is this emotion? Oh god. And but yeah, since then, I have not had a game do that to me since, and that's why I love Gears of War so much. Besides the action, the graphics, the everything, but there is a lot of heart in the characters.
I've actually just noticed your headset, your headphones are actually Gears of War headphones.
Yeah. I've got so much. Well, not everything, but I have a lot of Gears of War collectibles. I just love it. It's my go-to franchise.
Okay. Anyone else had a moment?
But I will say, I hadn't thought of it. I hadn't considered Gears of War before, but I will say, playing the Gears of War series, I wondered why I loved it, and it is that it's got some of the most tangible writing in the script that I've ever played in a game, and it like you say, I mean, it's a bro shooter. A bunch of hulking dudes that high five each other, and do you know what I mean?
But you get you do get emotionally invested in the characters.
The deepest story involved. I mean, I completely agree. I played the first one and I wanted to play the rest, and it's exactly right. That scene in the second game is heartbreaking, and it makes you want to carry on with the third one. I played the third one because I wanted to win for that scene.
Yeah, the very next scene, Dom.
The writing's fantastic for that, and I'll give you that. That's one of the most emotional series that I've ever played.
Yeah, like the
Despite
next
the
scene,
fact
Dom.
that at its core, it's a cover shooter, but it's a gorgeous story set up on something so horrendous. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Like when you said you just want to continue on, like Dom in particular, the next scene, pretty much, he walks out from having his moment and meets up with Marcus, and he's like, "Oh, Dom, are you okay?" And he's like, gets his gun out and goes, "I want to kill them all." And I'm like, "Fuck yes, let's do it!" You know, because you're just totally invested at that point.
See, I wouldn't be like that. If it was me, I'd be a weeping mess. in the corner, but I'm fine. I don't have to be that in that game. I can be this absolutely hench Dwayne Johnson motherfucker, and I'm fine. It's fine. That's escape. That is real escapism.
Any moments for you two, Gordon or?
Yeah, it's been a while since I've played it, but I know the game. It's called Dust, an Elysian Tale, and I found it. It's on the Xbox Live Marketplace. I think it's more of an indie game, but it is a fantastic game, and you're it's a side scroller. It's not a very large game, but it is worth every little bit. I recommend everybody check it out, actually. But during the campaign and the course of the game, you're trying to discover you've lost all your memories, and you're trying to figure out who you are and why you're so deep in this world that is torn in conflict and war. And as you find out more about your soul and get your memories back, and your sidekick is Fidget, and Fidget's like this pixie squirrel thing, and they do the classic drawing, only the big eyes, and she just pulls for you the whole game, and then she gets so emotional when you near the end. It looks like, again, spoilers, you're gonna have to sacrifice yourself to save the land, and she just gets so distraught when she's sitting there begging for you not to go. And they do that animation, and the music and the soundtrack is just perfect, and the voice acting, it all comes together for that perfect moment of emotion. And you're just like, all right, enough Xbox for today. Go outside, lift things.
I think
That's mine for me, for sure. It's a good game.
I think-
Great game.
Ben,
I
have
think
you
mine-
ever? I was going to say, have you had a moment, or are you just a heartless bastard?
It's just it was a long time ago, but where The Last of Us. The Last of Us.
Oh, I've had games I want.
Somebody rate me. Sure.
Yeah. For the PS3, I think it was. It did first come out on the PS3, didn't it?
Yeah.
Where you are emotionally invested in these characters, and because it never gives you anything, that game, it's a pure survival horror. And for some parts of the game, you're just left with no ammo, no weapons, and nothing.
Sorry, which
And,
game was this? I missed that.
The Last of Us.
Oh, right, yeah.
Or the PS3, sorry. And then the game, sort of the story towards the end, which you don't realise is the end, the game just ends, and it just abandons you.
Oh,
And there's
wow.
no sort of actual conclusion. It just ends. They have a little conversation, and then you think, oh, I'm going to go to a next level now and explore even more. But no, that is the end of the game, and you're just left there with just like, oh right, I'm just
empty
left on
feeling.
my own. Yeah, emptiness.
Damn.
All right. I wasn't expecting such a strong response to that question. Actually, I was just thought I'd throw it out there, something different. So that was good. So
Anyway, I'm going to go play some Rocket League.
All right, let's do it. I'll fire it up here.
So, getting back now to question 2. Games used to be super expensive, but in the transition from the 16-bit to 32-bit era, I was getting very impatient personally to get the arcade experience into my house, and I wanted the polygon-like racing games in my house, and so I went out and splashed 199 Australian dollary dues on Virtua Racing. And
Now I know what you call those.
I need a probably goose from The Simpsons.
190 It was $199 back in 1994, so it translates to about the price of a console. Really, it was horrendously expensive because it had its own. It's got its own processor chip inside it. This is Virtua Racing on the Sega Mega Drive, and I loved it. But there was only one thing that I hated about that game was that it didn't have battery backup to save your best times. That really. No,
That was the only thing you hated about that game.
Well, back then, hang on a minute.
It cost you a mortgage. That'd be my issue. It's like, well, this has cost me.
But you
everything I'll ever own.
but you got to put it into perspective. Back then, having
I
you have okay. Now putting that kind of a game in the house and having a polygon style racing game on your TV was like unheard of.
Oh,
So,
impressive.
yeah, and it
Well,
was.
yeah, unless you're Flavor Flav. Like at no point would it. I mean, that is an obscene amount of money.
Oh yeah, totally. That's why it didn't sell gangbusters, did it?
That'll do it. All right, fair enough.
And it's now worth about $15-20, which is like just so disheartening. I thought that that would make it go up in value, but it's done the total
Really?
opposite.
Is it really that going for that online?
It's not going for much at all. Go
Holy
online.
fuck.
It is really not worth a lot.
That sums it up.
That is crushing.
That
So,
is
Mike,
savage.
So my question is, and I've got a number 2 to this. Normally, most people will have one epically high expensive game, but my number 2 was Super Street Fighter 2 on the Super Nintendo. I imported it from Japan because Mattel were doing such a fantastic job of importing games back in the 90s, dickheads. And so I had to import it because I got to do a cover review for Hyper Magazine. So my article made the cover. One of my best moments in gaming journalism, and I got paid $200 for that review, and I paid $150 for the game. So I did come out ahead, but not by as much as I'd like to have. So
Right, still awesome, yeah.
So who's
$200
got?
for a game.
I'll put the graphic of the cover of that Hyper issue. That it's definitely worth looking at. I'll do a video on that one day. Who's got a major mortgage buster game in their collection?
So I've got nothing like that. I spend all of my money on trainers.
Oh yeah, I've heard about your obsession with shoes. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I spend my money on. I mean, the most I've spent on a game, I bought the Wolfenstein 2 New Colossus. I bought the special edition because it had the BJ Blazkowicz, like almost Ken doll. I just
Really?
Yeah, I just thought it was really cool, and I got it on discount as well. I think it was 120 quid at day one retail.
So it
I
came
bought the
with
game.
it came with a figurine, like Barbie-like sized doll.
Oh yeah, it's massive. Yeah, it's massive. But it's
that, yeah.
the BJ Blazkowicz. So it's got a selection of weaponry, but the guns don't really fit in his hand because it's really shite plastic hands. But I just think the whole thing was pretty cool. It was just so I've never taken it out of the box. It's the only thing I haven't opened. In fairness, it's just in the box. But that's the most expensive game I bought. I figure if I'm buying a game, if I really want to play it, I'll buy it on day one. I might pre-order it to get some bonuses if I give enough of a shit about it. But for the most part, I'll just pay a regular price for a game. I think games are expensive already. They've never not been expensive. I think even back in the day, I mean, you're looking at 60 quid. So, I mean, with inflation, now you look, I mean, it's, 100 quid for a game. And like you're saying, you pay $200.
Yeah.
But now 60 quid for a game.
I think games back in the 90s were more expensive than they are now.
Yeah,
People
they were.
complain,
100%. Yeah.
People complain that the prices are going up. The only reason why they were so expensive for the Nintendo side of things is because, like I said, Mattel were doing such a bad job of importing these games into the country that you ended up having to go to grey importers to get what you should have been able to buy, but they were just doing such a lousy job of bringing them into the country. And I believe I don't know who was importing games in Super Nintendo games into the UK. Do you guys remember? Is it Mattel or?
I've got a memory of Mattel being shy. They've annoyed me before, not just now. They've annoyed me once before when I was a child.
People used to resort to the adverts in the gaming magazines to import the things they needed.
That was my favourite part of those magazines, was going through those articles, those adverts.
Yeah, some of the stuff they had listed. You could only dream of just getting all the ones you wanted when you were a kid, but
because they're always 3 times the cost of a regular game.
Yeah.
Uncle Chunt, what's the most expensive in your list?
Well, I'm going to say this with a caveat because it's either the game or the edition. So I'll just say both, just so you know.
Yeah, why not?
Quench the interest, you know. So a singular game, probably the most overspent, just on like the case and the disc and everything, was Shenmue 1 for Dreamcast complete.
Top.
Cracking.
I think I spent like 120, 130 maybe on eBay for that.
Have you found the sailors yet?
Yes, I have actually. Wait, in Shenmue or real life?
Oh, well.
I'm willing to hear the answer for either.
Yeah, let's go.
Either answer I'm fine with. I just want
Oh yeah, me and the sailors have a good time.
whereabouts is that?
It's a secret club.
I'm serious. Well, what do you have to do to join?
What street?
Yeah. The parents want an address. We need
What's
to
the password?
Isn't it Warehouse Number 9? I've forgotten. I haven't played that game in ages.
Let's go.
The secret password you need to be mindful of. And probably like the most expensive item game related as far as for an edition, I'd have to either put it down to one of 3 Gears of War things, which is Gears of War 3 360 edition, which came with the game, the Gears of War 4 console edition, which came with the game, or the big ass JD Phoenix on the bike statue collector's edition.
Why don't you
which
just
came-
buy the bike itself?
Oh my God.
The actual bike.
I'd love
I was
to.
going to say, I always wondered who would buy that because I thought it was cool, but it was
Me.
fucking expensive. It was
Who's this guy?
Yeah, I'm the problem.
Now we know.
It was you. That's pretty cool, man. Because I've always I did want it. But
Yeah.
I can't justify
Yeah.
spending that money.
Yeah, like, I've got
For a
3
game
of
that I
those
could just buy
replica Lancer guns, like over here. I've got 3 different ones.
Like real, like life size.
Yeah, the 1-to-1 scale, like
That's
Lancer.
awesome.
Yeah, really
That is
nice.
amazing.
Yeah, I love
That's
Gears,
pretty
man.
cool.
I love it.
Ben,
I've got a tiny one.
what about yourself?
Me?
Yeah, what's the most expensive in your collection?
I don't know what the most expensive is in my collection. It's going to take a while to have a look through.
I'm seeing you got Dreamcast.
Yeah, got some Dreamcast.
Well, it's got to be.
stuff over there.
It's probably one of them then.
I looked up a few of them. That got there's one called Wild Metal, which apparently goes for a decent amount of money on eBay. Apparently, but I paid literally just a few quid for it. So I'm quite good at actually finding rarish games for pennies, really, in charity shops.
Oh,
and,
charity shops here are great for stuff like that.
yeah, they're
I'm
really good.
totally jealous of that.
You do find the odd gem, don't you? Really
Yeah.
do.
Well, like, I found Ninja Cop on
Yeah.
Game Boy Advance. It was in the window and it was a quid. It had no box or anything, but it was just a cartridge. And I thought it was a wind-up. So, alright. I always wanted to play it, like a proper Konami game. So I went and bought it, was playing it. This is as good as I hoped it would ever be. But then I looked on eBay and people are selling like the unboxed cartridge for like 400 quid.
Oh my
I
god!
mean, the cheapest I saw it was 150.
That's
Which
disgusting.
sort of suggested to me that even 150, I paid £1 for this game. It was worth £1, but Christ.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not worth the download price you get for emulating it. It's worth a quid.
Gordon, I don't imagine you're much of into consoles, but I do see you got some console games there. You got anything that maybe goes up against this lot? No.
I don't think so because I've gotten out of consoles the last few years. I do have a story about like my favorite game of all time, The Elder Scrolls III Morrowind. I bought that game 3 times. I bought it.
Why not?
I bought it for the original Xbox, and then Game of the Year edition came out on the so it had the expansion pack on the disc for Morrowind. So I bought that, and then I love to just go fire up that original Xbox and load my save file from like 20 years ago or not
And
quite
try
that
to
long,
remember
but-
what the hell you're meant to be doing.
Well, the reason I bought it a third time, I went and bought it over on the PC because I'm not even joking. When you load up, the Xbox was completely unequipped to handle that game. You're looking at a 12 to 15 minute wait to load your game.
Whoa.
And then even just you're walking through the forest and you load from one exterior cell to the next, you could wait 20, 30 seconds.
It's
It was just too much. Yeah, it was just too much. Or if you're going inside to outside or outside to inside, you got to sit there and wait. And I actually ended up getting a PC to play that game, so I didn't have to wait so long to.
I have seen a video online just recently, an Aussie YouTuber who really specializes in modding consoles and whatnot, and he did put a video about modding the original Xbox to speed up the chip. So it doesn't, but it makes some of the original Xbox games incompatible, and the main reason why you'd want to do it is for emulating. So I don't know if that would be one of the games that would be helped by modding the chip to speed it up, but it's a bit of a risk. There is a switch on it that it goes back to original mode. So
Oh
Have you seen Morrowind on the Xbox One X, the enhanced version?
no, No,
Oh,
the
wow.
last
That
thing
would
I
be-
looked at was the Skywind mod. I haven't seen it recently in the last couple months, but I was following the Skywind mod for Skyrim. That's just rebuilding Morrowind in the Skyrim
Oh, yes,
engine.
I've heard of that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, and it looks just fantastic, and the amount of work that it's all volunteer. That's amazing. Those projects get off the ground.
Yeah.
I think it speaks volumes to those games like
Oh, it's the love
Shenmue
behind it.
3 that never see the light of day. I would like to see Shenmue 3. What's going on with that Kickstarter? Sorry for the side
It's just
note
been
there.
delayed. It's been delayed, but it doesn't look like it's cancelled or anything. They're just putting. Maybe they were just not realising how big a task it was going to be.
I
think it's just too niche of a market.
Screenshots. Do you see those not the last round of screenshots where they actually updated everything that they fucked up the first time? You see that the first round of screenshots they released, where there was the faces, they look like sex dolls.
And what's wrong with that?
It was all.
Yes, and your point?
That might be a selling feature for some people.
Weirdly, most of the internet, which I mean, I very rarely side with most of the internet, especially most of Twitter. But most of Twitter said, no, I don't like the fact there's no emotion on those women's faces. There's no way happen. Normally, I'm the one who said, whatever you're saying, I'm the opposite of that. Normally a bit needy, but this time they were right. As they released more, they updated the facial animations and facial structure, and I got excited for Shenmue 3 again.
Yeah.
Because those first two games were phenomenal. In
They've,
fact,
they've hit their target, haven't they?
They blew it. They blew it out of the
Yeah,
park. Yeah.
they hit their target in about 18 seconds.
Yeah.
And then they carried on smashing it. Yeah.
That's
They
amazing.
quadrupled it or something ridiculous in about 15 minutes.
I'm really looking forward to Shenmue 3. I'm gonna,
100%.
yeah, because I've actually visited Yokosuka. I've been to the actual place where the original game was
Right, I
based
saw your
in.
video on that.
Yeah, and
Did you find sailors?
there was no, there
So
was
you
no.
got that question, but
He didn't not find sailors, did he?
Actually, there was three guys in the
kept it
video that
quiet.
looked like sailors that were walking past while I was filming.
Anyone could be a sailor if you wanted to be, mate.
I was going to say I wouldn't mind. I said, well, you look good enough. It's good enough.
Yeah. If you could take us the coordinates,
Yeah, we're up for any addresses you can give us. We're up for it.
And
send over the coordinates.
back to the expensive game, I've got something that's going to end up being rare. Apparently, it's the rarest Wii U game.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy!
Hello,
the worst
Kitty.
badge of honour you could ever have. That is a badge of shite.
Apparently, it's rare as crap, and I saw it, but I've seen it twice in Parramatta, so I'm not really sure of how rare it is. But I don't know. I got it for
Did you say rare as crap?
rare as crap. Well, actually,
Right,
now that you
literally,
mention,
never
no,
a truer set
I'll
of
never.
words spoken.
You know, I won't say that ever again. It's yeah.
Let's break this down.
I would have also accepted rare as piss because it's it's excrement of some kind.
Okay.
But I'm glad you have it.
No, Brian, you keep hold of it. Treasure it.
It'll only increase in value,
Treasure it.
much like a jar of urine.
I'm good.
You know.
I do have a Mortgage Buster story about games, but the worst part is that at the end of the day, you've got nothing to show for it.
Oh.
And that was my first encounter about a decade ago with a, let's call it a live service, or
Uh-oh.
it was a downloadable, one of those games with consumables, and the first time I ever experienced one of those. And the game was actually called Fiesta, and it's a ripoff, a cartoony ripoff of World of Warcraft. It's free to play. Yeah, it's really bad. It's free to play. It's still around. You can actually find it on Steam. I was looking the other day. I'm like, is that still a thing? And they sell you things that they last for 30 days or last for 14 days, and then they're gone. And then they're like, oh, my character's not as powerful again. And so you want to buy that extra plus 5% to damage or whatever. And before you know it, you have 3-4.
Pay to
yeah,
win.
they last.
Every
Yeah,
2 weeks.
it turned into pay to win, and I had never seen that before. So
Yeah. Oh,
you
that's
get
awful.
sucked in, and it was an eye-opening experience.
Yeah.
But I definitely spent close to, and this is over the course of a year and a half, but still. And I mean, I guess that it turned in. It's not a subscription or anything, but it turns into one when you keep buying that crap. And I probably spend up to $1,000 Canadian dollars
Oh,
in a year and a half. And do I have cartridge or a disc or anything. No, it's I can't even log into my old files. They're so old now that if I try to log into my old account, it says, "Oh, we seem to have issues."
Well, we're not going to get into the digital versus physical. We always seem to mention that every video.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
It's just we're talking about mortgage busting, and I always.
No,
that
that's
was a-
heartbreak. That is heartbreak.
Fortunately, I was able to afford it back then. I was making bank, let's say, at a good job.
Stacking peas.
I get a good oil field job, so money like that was like you throw it away. You go, oh well, it's just no big deal. But now you look back and you're like, why?
It's all about building life experience, mate. You know.
Yeah, no, it definitely was expensive lesson.
Going to get on to the third question now. So, in the past, we've witnessed one of the world's most epic company battles. My God, the words aren't coming out. Since the Pepsi and Coke wars. We're talking about Sega versus Nintendo. But since Sega have departed from the... don't get me started.
Actually, you say Sega does what Nintendo don't.
On that, Larry Bundy Jr. sent me a personal message and he said, don't let anyone make you pronounce Sega as Sega. Keep it true to your own country. And I'm going to stick with that.
He's literally pointing just at you. It's literally going, bollocks, mate.
Well, not really.
So I'm going to stick with Sega.
I never said it was.
But what I'm getting at here is that since Sega have no longer made consoles, they've seemed to have fallen from their past glory, and they're on a gradual decline into obscurity. So I'm just wanting to know: is Sonic overrated? What can be done to keep Sega relevant in 2018 onwards?
Trigger warning, mate. Trigger warning.
Trigger warning,
Well,
yes.
I'll kick this off by saying, I think Sega. I'm into shoes, and I've managed to get a pair of the Puma Sega crossover.
You bastard!
Right here.
Oh, you
There you go.
bastard!
There you go. Yeah. And I brought them over here so for Ben to have a look at. I'm never going to wear them. I'm probably going to sell them because not only, I mean, they're nice.
Those are fucking rad.
Yeah, they're nice, but the upper
I'm licking
is
the screen
furry.
right now.
The upper's furry, right? Let's have a little look at that. There's some little rings around the laces. Oh, that's pretty badass. It's based on the Green Hill Zone. They're pretty cool, but they're furry.
Never going to wear it.
Exactly. Never gonna wear them. Never gonna wear them. I'm gonna tell them. Never gonna wear them. I just wanted them, and I managed to get a pair. The box is badass because it looks
It's
like the
Sonic,
game.
yeah.
Amazing. And I think it's the best way for Sega to go. They seem to, it's outside developers seem to know what Sonic is, and they're all made of fans. Sonic Mania, those were fans that made that game.
Aussie.
Sonic Forces, shite. Sonic Forces, made by Sonic Scene, shite.
Yeah,
Dreadful. I mean, they don't understand what Sonic is. I mean, as a kid, Ben's out of the two of us, Ben's the guy. He loves Sonic. I could never do it. It was too quick for me. I'm not very bright. It was too quick. It was over my head. I enjoyed it, but I wasn't good at it. But I think this is the best way for Sega. They're making themselves relevant for people that aren't necessarily gamers.
So the answer for Sega is shoes.
They've done a good job. Those things sold out in 18 seconds in this country.
I didn't get a pair. Bloody hell.
Yeah.
I think it depends on which camp of Sonic you look at, because you've got, like you say, the Sonic Team ones, which are the RPG style games, and then you've got the 2D run as fast as you can games that they've still revitalised it through Sonic Mania. I think there's two different parts to Sonic. It's two different worlds.
You mentioned
Depends what you look
RPG, but they've only ever made one Sonic RPG game on the Game Boy Advance. I think it was the Brotherhood or something.
No, I mean as in the sort of Sonic Adventure style.
Well, no, there was
yeah.
The proper, it was Sonic RPG. Was it Sonic Adventure? No, not Sonic Adventure. That was.
No, there
What was it called? It was on the.
there was
was
a
the one
Game
on the
Boy
DS.
Advance. DS, sorry, and it was the Brotherhood of something or other. I'll have to look that up. I'll put a link.
Yeah.
I'll put a graphic up
Based on this, it was obviously a great game.
Yeah, sorry,
yeah, if we can't remember the name,
They obviously nailed it.
But has anyone got any suggestions for Sega, like besides just shoes?
Back to basics. Just what I mean is back to basics. The best parts of Sonic Forces were the 2Ds, the side scrolling. People, I like it. Sonic Mania is amazing, and Sonic Mania sold a lot of copies because it's old school Sonic.
It was good old fashioned fun.
Exactly. Exactly. The best parts of Sonic Mania were the 2D sections, the 2.5D or whatever. But you know what I mean? It's the side scrollers. They're the best parts. You can't. Sonic was never going to be the same as Super Mario, because Super Mario wasn't as quick. You could make that into, like Mario 64, you could make that into a sandbox world, because it isn't quick. It's that you explore at your own pace. Sonic, you explore at different. The replayability is the point of it.
Yeah.
You can go back through the same level 4 times and find 4 different routes to the end goal.
Yeah.
But you can't do that slowly. And I think that they need to focus on it being quick, side-scroll in 2D.
Well,
that's what works.
When Sonic Adventure came out for the Dreamcast, I was excited before that came out. But when I actually played it, all they really did was slow Sonic down.
Yeah.
Where you had to explore all these awkward areas of levels, and some of it was glitched out, and you couldn't really, not all of it worked, and you could fall through the platform, the floor, and things into the sea.
That was a glitch, though.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the point. It slowed it down and
release a finished game.
Yeah,
but there's that.
It feel like
Sonic, it's 2018.
Yeah, I used to read the comics, the Sonic comics from Archie, and
I couldn't get one. I tried getting the new reboot, and they're all sold out. They didn't import enough.
Yeah, but like I was invested in the Team Chaotix and the Freedom Fighters or whatever, from the Saturday morning cartoon and shit. But like when Adventure came out and you had all these other Sonic characters like Big the Cat and Cream and fucking
Hey, don't
just
you
all these...
diss Big the Cat? What do you got against Big the Cat?
Forgot about all the crazy characters.
I forgot every time I need to play those fishing levels, I want to kill myself.
Yeah, Big the Cat. I'd forgotten about that.
Big the Cat.
Like, I wish I was dead. I wish I was dead now.
Who the hell is
And I'm not playing it.
I remember being totally interested and hyped up for Sonic Adventure 1.
It's awful.
Yeah.
But when it came out, I had played it at a mate's place. I was like, "What is this? Like this isn't Sonic. Like, why are we on Earth? Why does everything look like a real world town? Like, where's all the style gone? Where's the traditional Sonic that we grew up with, like the art style and all that kind of stuff? Where's all this other garbage come from? Why is everybody a friggin' anime edgelord? Like, I don't understand it. And I totally lost interest. I have no interest, almost zero interest in modern Sonic altogether.
Well, it's lucky they listen to you, because it's not like a few years later you could have sex with a lady in it.
Yeah.
Imagine that. If they had done that, imagine if they did that. It would have been awful.
Oh yeah.
It would have been like a B movie.
Yeah.
Which I'm a big fan of.
And what was their obsession with killer whales as well?
Yeah.
Charmary's everywhere, isn't he?
Yeah. What's the in at least 2 titles, there's a killer whale that jumps over Sonic for some reason.
It's in all the DS ones. The first level, the Green Hill Zone, always now. It's like it's stock. It ends with you being chased by Free Willy.
Yeah.
Ludicrous. You always win. You always beat it.
I think the thing with Sega is they got to give Sonic a rest and look at all the other IP that they're just sitting on and they don't touch.
Exactly.
You've got Streets of Rage screaming out for a sequel. Golden Axe. You've got Phantasy Star. They could do, instead of the online versions, get back to the original, just straight up RPGs. I'm dying to see them release a number 5. That would be something that I would pick up straight away. There's a ton of games. Crazy Taxi, a new Crazy Taxi would be freaking awesome, like a proper one.
That was a
real
good game.
remake of Altered Beast. Oh my god. Give it to me.
Well, they did a reboot.
No, like a real one, not that garbage PlayStation one.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm talking about.
I was about to say that is an awful game.
What about a new Jet Set Radio for the Switch?
Oh my god! That's one of my favourite games ever.
Why
Jits Radio 2 is what I played, and man, what a great game. Yeah, I would pick up a third for sure.
Absolutely.
I love the soundtrack to that.
Switch.
The soundtrack to that game was just spot on.
Yeah.
But I've got it on a PS Vita. I've got it on my Vita, and it's a cracking port. So there's no reason that could not be ported.
You can
to Switch.
you can
I
use the
paid for
camera.
both.
You can use the camera in that version actually to do graffiti.
Really?
Yeah. So try getting into that. Take a photo of your cat, spray your cat up on the wall.
I'm glad you said.
I don't have a cat,
Hey.
but I'll take a photo of something.
Well, you need to get one.
Or
I'll get a cat for that.
please don't use your imagination too much on that one.
2 steps ahead of you, mate. It's already done.
I figured.
I'd love a new Streets of Rage. I mean, they did
I love that.
Double Dragon like they did a new one like that for Double Dragon. I'd love a Streets of Rage like that.
Well, Streets of Rage 4 was in development hell and then ended up becoming something else, and they couldn't secure it. The company that was doing Streets of Rage 4 wanted to also port it to PlayStation, and Sega were like, hang on a minute, no you don't. And then so they lost the rights to Streets of Rage 4. So that's what happened to that. And Golden Axe, there was going to be a Golden Axe 4. I don't know if that was its actual title, but it was actually being developed by Sega of Australia, of all places. And it was about 70-60% completed before they pulled the plug on it. So
Wait, is that the same one that was on PS3 and Xbox 360?
no, it never got released. But there's some ROMs floating around on the internet showing what it could have looked like, and it was a bit generic.
Okay.
But it would look like with a bit of polish could have had potential.
Well, I mean, Sega are trying. I mean, they've got those Sega Forever initiative, and now the new Mega Drive collection, and and they're always trying to push the nostalgia and remind us that these IPs they're doing it a lot lately. So they're trying to go back to basics, like we were talking about earlier. So I think they're on the road to kind of figuring out what they want to do, which is good. And also, we talked about it recently about the talks between Sega and Microsoft. The sharing on Twitter quite candidly about meeting. So that's interesting. I think 2019 might show some fruits of all this stuff. I hope.
Hope so. Yeah. Well, we're going to try and quickly wrap this up because these two guys in the UK, it's like, 4 a.m. or something there. They've gone.
Oh, no.
Oh, they dropped off.
Hang on, is that... Sorry, I've just... who's that again, the cricketer? The captain.
Oh, yeah. Who's that?
Why have they disappeared? Sorry, Twitchers, if you're watching live on the internet, we've just lost one of our...
It'll come to you afterwards. You watch.
Yeah, if we talk about other things, it'll come to you just like that.
Alright, we might have to just continue on with that really romantic picture there of us two. We've got 2 questions from some tweet followers. We've got here from Joyful Swan, a patron of Since Spacies. If you could recommend one game that every gamer must play, what would it be? So who wants to kick with this? I'll kick off then. Shenmue, without a doubt. I think every gamer should have to have played that once, and just to get an understanding of what was pretty much the birth of modern sandpit open world games. Sandbox, not sandpit. Sandbox games. It really did kick off a whole new genre in my books, and it was one of the first games with, what was it, QTE, Quick Time Events.
Yeah.
Love them or hate them, that was the start of it.
Yeah.
And
I'm
it was
about halfway through that at the moment.
So
you're right.
It's an emotional ride if you get yourself fully invested into the game. And when I visited Japan for the first time in 2006, all I kept thinking of was, that's a Shenmue moment. That's a Shenmue moment. That's a Shenmue moment. Everything looks like they really had that much attention to the detail. Even the lighting, the light switches are authentic to the real thing that you see in Japan. Some people describe Shenmue as a open draw simulator. Yeah.
Yes.
But I love that aspect. That you couldn't do that before in a game where you could just see a chest of drawers and I wonder what's in it. And you used to, in the past, you used to just click it and you got 10 gold or something like that.
Yeah, but it text will pop up.
But now you actually open it up and you see what's in it. So that was something that was pretty cool.
You're right. I mean, like I'm about halfway through Shenmue. This is my first time playing it since I bought it, and now like I'm trying to keep in the mindset of the time it came out. Obviously, you know, it's the graphics haven't held up completely, but of the time when you compare it to other games that came out, it's just like night and day how much further along that game was.
You say it didn't hold up, but I mean it stood for quite a long time.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I'm playing it with the mindset of when it came out, and it's an unreal experience. Like it's you make your own time with it. Like you plod along at your own time. You're not forced along, or your hand's not held in any way. Like you really have to go looking around for clues. And I'm actually really enjoying it, and I'm keen to get through the end so I can get to Shenmue 2. But yeah, I agree with you. Like now, getting to it, I would agree that Shenmue is one of those games that people should at least play once.
Yeah.
I think I know what your answer's going to be there, Gordon. We touched on it earlier, Morrowind.
I was thinking that, but I was trying to think too. That's a game that would frustrate a lot of people because it's pretty heavily reliant on dice rolls.
That's a personal effect on you, but in general, if you were to get 10 gamers and suggest to them what game should you play,
if they were gamers, but just in general, I think anybody should have to play Mario Party for an extended period because then you really know who your friends are.
Yes.
I've got to do. I picked up on the GameCube Mario Party 5 and 6 or whatever it was.
Right.
Cause I bought a GameCube in Japan and I was only buying it because it came with the Game Boy Advance adapter, the player. And while I was there, I also picked up a swag of games, and this is just so cheap over there compared to here. It's really hard to find GameCube games in Australia, but I haven't really had the chance to play multiplayer Mario Party. It's just hard to get people over here. That it's not an online game, so they're not interested. Do you find that that's a thing now? Getting people
with Mario Party?
Well, in games in general, just getting people to come over and.
It's hard. Like I've got out of consoles lately, but I do have what I would call a large collection of consoles in my living room. I have the PlayStation, the original PlayStation, the original Xbox, the Xbox 360, Xbox One, the Wii, the GameCube, the N64, and there's one more there, all sitting there with power switches and AV switches. It's just a matter of which console you want to play and away you go. And I think I've had that go one time in the year since I've lived here.
Well,
and we
played... it goes both ways, right? Like, I'm guilty of doing it, and so are my friends, where if you're like, hey man, do you want to come over, and play a game or hang out, whatever. Like now, I'm 32, so it's like, it's not like you can just, everybody around my age has those responsibilities of an adult and their own family and all that kind of shit. So it's like,
not
harder
me.
and harder. Yeah. So it's harder and harder, like the older you get to kind of do that, right? So now it's like, okay, look, just hop online. It's easier. I think that's where it is now. Like, it's different when you're in your 20s or late teens or whatever, where you can just hang out all day and because you got no responsibility,
Right.
And stay up all night drinking and having pizza and playing games and shit. But you can't do that much anymore. But I'm trying to think of one game in particular that I could recommend to someone. I think last time I spoke about this, I said Mario Galaxy 2. I think it was. Just because I think it really struck a chord with me, because I actually showed it to a couple of people that aren't gamers, and my ex-girlfriend at the time didn't really play a lot of games until we went through that game together. And I think for me, I think that's the only kind of time that stood out to me where it's kind of made an impact on someone going, oh, these video games are really fun.
Just to interrupt, we've just had an update from, oh my god, Grumpy Retro Gamers. A power cut at my place. Tweeting on mobile internet.
Oh no!
Damn!
I'm just writing here, UK for the win. So we now know what happened to Grumpy Retro Gamers. I thought I'd just check in there. He would try to come back as soon as possible. Okay, so
Casualty of Brexit.
Yeah.
maybe.
Russia cut off the gas power.
So he's missed one question. That's okay. And we've just got here. What is the worst game you've ever played? We'll leave it at that. This is a question from Jose Rodrigo.
Worst game. Oh, I know this. Yeah, my worst game ever. Dreams into Reality for PS1. Not many people are going to know what that is.
No, not a one that I'm aware of. No,
and
Probably
it's not
good.
it's not the LSD trip Dreams either. Like, it's not that game. I'll send you the cover of it, so if you want to put it up, so you get the actual game when you edit it later. It's the worst experience I've ever had.
It must have been emotional for you because you're just bashing the counter then.
Oh yeah, I was just like, God damn it! Like, I just remembered, like, when I was younger, it was the time when I was young enough to earn a little bit of money, and it wasn't a lot. This is the PS1 era, and I saved up money, and I wanted to go buy a game that day. And I found this game, and the cover art looked cool, and I read the back of it, and it sounded like it was going to be a cool action platformer, like beat 'em up type thing.
Yeah.
And took it home, and it was one of those games where you start playing, and you instantly get into denial mode when you've just realised how bad this game is. But because you spent all your money, no, it's good, it's all right. And then a month goes by, and your friends are like, "Why are you still playing this? This is crap." And you're like, "No, it's good, man. It's all right." Until you eventually get another game that satiates your need, and then you go, "No, that game's garbage. God damn it."
Yeah.
That's left a sore spot in me forever. It's like the worst gaming purchase I've ever made.
I can kick in with mine. And people are going to say this is a cliche answer, but you know what? At me. I don't really care. E.T. on the Atari 2600.
Oh yeah, I never.
There's a lot of people that defend it. I defend the programmer. I totally do not have any hate or any sort of disrespect to the programmer. He was given an impossible task of coming up with a high-selling game with a programming time of like 6 weeks or something stupid like that, I think it was. And
Oh wow.
and they wanted to get it out in time to take advantage of Christmas sales. So it was supposed to be like the killer app at the time, and it was just pitiful. And I use that as a pun because you're falling in pits, totally, constantly. You're walking around, you're falling in a pit. You get out of the pit. You go into another pit, and you're just doing that over and over and over again. And I was at a mate's place, and he had this, picked it up, and I saw, oh, this looks cool. E.T., I wonder what this is. It had a shiny silver cover, and I thought, wow, this looks great. I put it in, and I was just getting so frustrated with how bad it was. This is the only time I've ever done this, I swear. Yanked it out of my mate's, still beating Atari 2600, and launched it across the room. And it smashed up against the wall. What the hell did you just do? He's yelling at me, freaking out. And I said, mate, I think I've just done you a favour. That game was shot. And I was only, God, I would have been 12 at the time, or not even. And so it would have been about 85 or 86. And just an absolute god of a mess of a game. It was just such a shame too, because that could have been something big. It was an opportunity maybe for Atari to show that they're developing as a company, but Atari started something and they just couldn't work out how to keep it rolling, I think was their issue.
I watched that documentary about E.T. and Atari.
I did too, yeah.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting.
It is.
I could not believe it. And I feel for the guy as well, as you were saying earlier.
I feel like we're in the same... Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say he turned up to the actual undigging. There's a word you don't. Of the actual, they actually did find him. So for years it was a rumor. For people who don't know, the sales of Atari's ET was so bad that they ended up with a warehouse full of unsellable cartridges. And so rather than holding on to them, they decided it was just better to bury them and move on, because it was such a laughable. And they tried to make it hush hush and keep it a secret, because if the press got a hold of it, that would just be like the laughing stock of the industry, not just games industry, but industries in general. And so they buried it in top secret, but it wasn't top secret enough because there was always whispers and rumors that this had happened, and it became folklore. It became gaming folklore that this was a thing, and there was enough evidence out there to have people invest money into the digging up excavation of these games, and it happened. I remember watching that live. It was just like, this is awesome. They were digging it up live, and the guy stood up, go on, got it. And it was just like, holy crap, it was real. And they were digging out 1, 2. It wasn't like just one. There was like a whole pile of them.
It's been unreal, man.
So
they printed more cartridges than there was consoles of that game.
Allegedly, yes. Allegedly. Yeah, but that.
What is this? A courtroom? There's no charges. There's no charges here.
No, but I mean, if you're going to stick with facts, we don't know. There's a lot of evidence to support that is actually the case. And when you say, is this a courtroom? We're on internet. Everything here can be held against.
That's true.
Everybody's judge, jury, and executioner online.
I need my sense safe Spacies here. So.
Well, it's a shame.
Spacies. Oh shit.
Oh, what have I coined here?
That's good.
I've been trying to see if these guys were going to rejoin us, but it doesn't look like. Sorry, guys. Nope, not coming back on. Guessing we were almost finished now anyway. You mentioned the phrase there before there, Gordon. Genesis does what Nintendo don't. You touched on it earlier.
I love watching old 90s commercials, man.
Well, it's funny that you're
mentioning... that's where we were going to go.
No, it's funny you're mentioning that, because in a couple of podcasts' time, I will be getting the very guy that came up with those expressions, Al Nielsen, the marketing guru for Sega back in the early 90s. I've managed to get him on the podcast in 2 podcasts' time to be right here to talk about those days. So that's an exclusive for Since Spacies. I've just first announced it here right now. So Al Nielsen will be on, if all goes according to plan. I have to add that. He'll be on podcast number 12 if that happens.
Nice.
So
cool, man.
That was a major coup for me, and Lizzie the Hedgehog was the one that was able to secure that for me. So I'm hoping that we can get her back on. Maybe she can be on with him and make it an all Sega affair.
Yeah, for sure. That'd be good.
All right. I think we'll wrap things up. Uncle Chunt, what do you got going at the moment with your channel?
Yep, I got a couple of videos uploaded this weekend. Now that my connection at home here is back online and working. Mm-hmm. So I went to upload a few the other night, but we had an outage here, so I just didn't fucking bother. But yeah, there's a couple of uploads that I'm doing this weekend, just some opinion-based things that I've wanted to say for a while in regards to just the game space, just to vent a bit. And I've still got my schedule for Twitch going forward, which is good. I'm excited about that. Since YouTube seems to want to crush on everybody's hopes and spirits lately, we'll give that a go.
No. But if your name is The Rock, you're okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Like, yeah. If I'm a $1 billion man, I'm fine.
Well, if your video's already got 15 million views, they'll keep pushing it.
See, that's what I'm doing wrong. I've just kind of realised that. So yeah, otherwise, like, I usually post when I'm about to do something or what my plans are. So just hit me up on social media, or just my website's got all my links on it. So
and what's your Twitter? What's your Twitter handle?
Me? Oh, just Uncle Chunt.
Thank you. What about yourself, there, Battle Beast?
We just released the Rocket League shots montage number 4 a few days ago.
We need a montage.
That's right. I'm gonna use that song eventually if we can get away with it. Probably can't, but no, I did that. I do have a bunch of banked Let's Play videos of Subnautica that hasn't been announced or started or anything, but I am gonna run through that game as to try to hide the unprofessionalism of my gaming style with as few cuts as possible. But I really, really liked that game, and I was amazed at how how enthralling it got. So I'm doing a Let's Play of that that's going to come out sometime. But like I said, I'm going to bank at least half the series before we start letting them go, because I'm gone for work Monday through Thursday at least every week.
Wow.
And then I only get I'm a weekend warrior, right?
Yeah.
So it makes it tough for me. That's why there's the few of us over at Carbon Knights, and the last quite a while here, I've been less involved, and that's why I've just real life work and never being home during the week, and that is taxing. So I stepped back, but I still like to do fun things like shots, montages, and things like whatever I can do, put together.
You're not much of a Twitter person, but we'll find you
The
at
channel.
the Carbon Knights Gaming. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
And you're about to hit the 500 mark, aren't you? The subscribers. It's getting there.
We were last I looked, we were less than 10 away from 500.
So hit him up,
Get
him there, guys. If you're watching Carbon Knights Gaming. We lost him.
Everyone's dropping.
We're dropping. Okay, well, this is like a real life King of the Hill moment. Who's going to be winner chicken dinner here? Well, that leaves me. So I was just going to say that I'll be working from home soon, so that will give me way more time to dedicate stuff to the channel since Spacies, and I'll be also doing. Oh, we got him back. Okay.
Sorry, I don't know. It just dropped.
Did you pay your power bill or?
Well, yeah, it's still on.
So yeah, I've got a trip. My week this week is huge. I've got my parents coming down. My brother's getting married. I'm flying to Japan and China. We just found out that my dad's discovered his parents after 70 years of not knowing where they are. So
Whoa!
Oh wow!
Yeah, huge week.
Man.
And here I am doing a podcast. But anyway. But no, that was we got a message from Ireland government basically saying that we know your parents, and it gets even worse. Not worse. It gets even weirder, I should say. I've discovered that I've been living a couple of suburbs away from a relative all this time.
Oh wow!
Oh, wow!
Holy mackerel!
Yeah, 40.
It's funny how life works out like that.
I'm 44-something years old, and I say something, 44 years old, and I've been living just a couple of postcodes away from a cousin. So
Wow!
we've got to hit him up. I'm 90% sure. There's a 10% of me going, I'm not quite sure if this is right, but we're going to check it out. But it looks legit so far. So
That's good. Over to you to explore the opportunity.
yeah, so I think we'll wrap it up. Thanks, guys, for joining us. Those who stayed with us. Maybe we
Even I almost bailed.
think about the ones that are lost in battle there. Chris,
Hello.
Ben,
I was here
It's a
the
moment
whole
for the
time.
fallen.
you're the only one with a secure internet connection there by the look of it, Chunt.
Yeah, man. Surprisingly, in Australia.
Yeah.
I've had a boost in my connection, so my streams should be a little bit more stable now. So thank you, Telstra.
Excellent.
Thank you, Telstra. We always bag you out, but when you do
Telstra,
good,
we love you.
but
Yeah.
when you do
Yeah.
good, we think we will praise you. Okay,
Credit where credit's due.
exactly. All right. Well, I think I'll leave it at that. My name has been Brian, and I've been gaming since Spacies. Thanks, guys.
Since Spacies.